Okie dokie, nerds, welcome to another vintage video. Today we're going to play some Dredge, and this is a recent Munchlax Dredge list where it's like the main Dredge list at the moment. So we've got all the permission in the world. We've even got 2 Mind Break traps in the main and a misstep. Just the Icarids and Amalgams and Narcs and Chills to kill with. So just like a light kill condition package, but we're much more controlling with Griefs and what 10, 11 permission spells, so like 15 interaction points main deck. Post board, there's the Vigors for ley lines, and then we've got traps and crypts for the mirror, and then 5 ways to kill containment priests, Yixlid jailers, and that sort of stuff. Max dredges, well, all the good ones, so 13 dredges for Noxious. So this list has got no wastelands, which makes sense because Tabernacle's on the downswing. And where we're only actually putting Amalgams and Narcs into play, and Hollow ones, I guess, which are like the static threats, we are much more into closing games with Icarids and Chills, right? So ignoring the existence of a lesser played card opens up essentially these 3 sideboard slots for us. Maybe only 2. Notably, Munchlax as well hasn't got a Chalice in here, which opens up space for a second Mind Break trap pre-board, which is all very interesting, but it is a very interactive dredge plan here. So obviously we're going to mulligan to Bazaar. We have powders to assist with that, and then after that it's just interact slightly slower clock than a lot of dredge lists. But the reason I'm playing this list today is because there's a showcase at the weekend, and if you're picking up Dredge to play it this weekend, this is going to be the front page list sort of thing. This is going to be the main one. And we're up against Francis, which is quite cool. So we're going to keep our 7 on the draw. Francis is typically a Lurrus Breach gamer, but also he plays a lot of Nardu in Legacy, because there's no Lurrus here. And we've got a turn 1 fetch on Misty. Getting a Trop and a Sapphire. And a Jet, so a big power hand. Okay, dude. Okay, dude. Beautiful. Beautiful. Cool. Cool. So 3 cards in hand over there. But obviously that's going to increase. We now get a blue card. Do we get another one to back it up? We do, and we get a second Bazaar. So we're going to discard Shambling Shell, Creeping Chill, and Icarid. We've now got Force of Negation online, if Francis develops anything else. We are going to pop our board out slightly. Not our board, our graveyard. But yeah, so there's so many blue cards in this deck that you're actually quite live to hit things. This is going to be a tough one to win, though, I think. What an opener. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is my 4-drop. And then he's back to 6 cards this turn. Seems pretty tough. A Feto Alchemist, which we can't interact with, which likely means we are against like a Nardu build. Force of Negation. Do I want to fight the... No, Force of Negation. Lotus. Do I want to fight the Lotus to prevent nonsense? I don't think so. I think he's so flush for mana. He might play a Nardu this turn or something, but if it's like a Green Suns, we get them. Just absolutely get wrecked. Okay. Turn 1 Wandering, turn 2 Nardu, Beseiju, my Bazaar of Baghdad. Okay. I've never felt deader. Maybe I was supposed to negate that Lotus. We'll go with End Step, Noxious on Bazaar of Baghdad. And that just happens, which is cool. So Icarid's going to happen. We're not going to bring back our Creeping Chill. We are not going to dredge our Shambling Shell. We're not going to bring back our Creeping Chill. Struggling with the old words here today. So Shambling Shell and miss, but we get a Force of Will. So let's discard Powder, Chill, shell. And we've got another one of those cards. So this turn we probably have to just fight everything they put on the stack. Because, well, I don't know if we'll be able to because they have a billion cards in hand with this one ring. So what does this Alchemist do then? It taps or untaps target artifact or creature. So it can untap itself to trigger Nadu, it can then untap itself to trigger Nadu, and then it can untap the One Ring to draw 4 cards. This could be tough. So they've got another Nadu in hand, they've put a Flooded Strand into play, they've got a Time Vault which we just have to fight, and then they've got a Force of Will back, and we're dead, because this untaps an artifact. So they take infinite turns, attack us for 3 each turn. Cool story, great game. Sideboarding against... I've got 4 fucking mana on turn 1. I think this could be good, this could be nonsense, but they are going to be a Vault Key deck. And then we'll just bring in the creature interaction as well. And then we'll return to looking at what we can and can't do. I'm wondering if I can drop the blue package, or some of the blue package, on the play. Or all of the blue package maybe, actually. And just deal with the stuff once it's in play. So it's not very good against a lot of things, actually. So let's revisit that. If I have negations and Force of Wills, my blue count's acceptable. I can drop 2 thugs. I want the Vigors because there's a good chance they're a leyline list. They're not beholden to Lurrus. Maybe we can come off of one of these creature kills. The Contagion seems actually kind of dope though, so I might just drop a Sickening Shoal. And then we need 4 cuts from here. We could cut Grief, but I really don't like that, which is why I'm leaning towards cutting blue cards. I'm not cutting Hollow Ones, I'm not cutting Shambling Shells. I need the Vigor. This also gives me insight as to what Francis is playing at the weekend, and I'm not playing Dredge, so I think well, I don't know what I'm playing it. I think I'm just going to play Aggro Vine, because I've just been having a lot of fun with that, but what do we want to cut for a Nadu deck? Maybe it is just the blue package. Let's go back to looking at this then. Then I get my Sickening Shoal back, and now I need 3 cards out of here. So I can just go like Thug, Trap. Sure, I'm going to ship this in. I've got the Griefs, and then I've got the Kill Spells. The Kill Spells might not be insanely good. And it might be bad to try and deal with a Nadu in play rather than on the stack, because now I'm locked into always giving him a card if I fight Nadu. So maybe that's really suspect. But I don't know. So we'll keep this. We'll put back the Narc. Putting back the Narc was a disaster, wasn't it? We were supposed to put back the Powder and keep the Narc for when I draw. I don't have any forces in my deck, so yeah, no, Narc is good. Narc is correct. That was close. So I have a Bazaar of Baghdad. I'm going to discard Powder, Shell, Icarid, and now I'll cast a Hollow One. So Francis' turn 1. We've got a good graveyard. But we just died so quickly last game. Grafdigger's Cage. Okie dokie then. I think I'm just going to Vigor that on the end step. If we get forced, we get forced. We only need to connect... Oh, we need to connect 3 times because I'm holding a chill. Oh well. Let's just go for it, I think. They've got the force behind, they've got the force behind. We do it end step so we can't get negated. And that's Force of Will pitching Mystical Tutor. Upkeep. I will just Dredge 3. and miss, which is great. Icarid doesn't happen. We draw a card for the turn, or we mill a shell? I guess we mill a shell. And we attack for 4. And now we just have to connect a bunch of times and hope we get there. Nothing can come into play, but our Creeping Chills can trigger. We've got 3 more of them in our deck. They have an Ancestral. Oh, this has been devastating. I don't feel good about our current spot. The One Ring. So now we have to wait. So I'm just going to take a regular run-in-the-mill draw just in case I hit another Vigor. So, say no to Icarids. Draw a card, just a normal card. So Grief, so that will happen next turn maybe, probably. We will attack for 4 for no actual reason. This deck's cool though, isn't it? One Rings, Alchemists, Nardus. But it's not been a particularly competitive... Sorry, cat. Not been a particularly competitive event. Tutors a Hedge Maze. On our end step, untaps with a One Ring in play. And the reason we didn't dredge on our turn is because of the ring protection and the Creeping Chills. So we can dredge during their turn, tutoring for chills. And see where it takes us. A Mana Vault. Is it also a PO deck? That would be sick. Manifold Key, because we needed more cards. Manifold Key untaps the One Ring. 7 cards in hand for the opponent. So we can see at least 9 cards on their turn looking for chills, which might burn them in a decent enough manner that they can't survive the One Ring. Sensei's Divining Top, yeah. All good stuff, all good stuff. Right, so we're going to go to their end step. Obviously we can't bring anything back, but they can't Besage me at the moment. So let's dredge with Bazaar. And we'll dredge 5 and 4. We hit a Narcomoeba, which doesn't actually do anything for us. So Shell, Imp, Thug. I'll say yes to the Narcomoeba. Oh no, I won't. Well, I will, but it doesn't matter. And then what will happen? We'll untap. We'll dredge a Stinkweed Imp. We'll then grief our opponent. So Stinkweed Imp. Grief you. 5 cards over there. And I mean, like, this grief doesn't do a lot. They've got a top Manifold Key and a One Ring. We might be able to snipe something reasonable. Okay, they're going to hide everything from us. But we'll still let the grief resolve first, because... We'll still let the grief resolve first, because we don't want to play headfirst into like a Mindbreak Trap in response. Not Mindbreak Trap, Ravenous Trap. So... Brainstorm resolves, 5 cards over there. Grief. Grief hits the opponent. Lay Down the Void. A card I don't feel like reading. Oh no, hang on, this nukes my whole board, doesn't it? So Leyline of the Void, Force of Will, Legolas's Quick Reflexes. Legolas's Quick Reflexes. Whenever this creature becomes tapped, it deals damage. So opponent next turn can nuke the board. I don't care about the others, right? He can't produce BB. Force of... This is the last spell we're casting today. The house I don't think you get in play. There's a Lotus in the graveyard, so the house and Leyline I think are dead. Which means... And Force of Will is dead, so we just take the Quick Reflexes, because that's not actually going to do anything. Okay, and now we'll attack. See if we can get them on the hook for 4 points of damage here. No, we can't. So, Alchemist is deceased. Our second main phase, I think, is when I activate, because then he would have to have exactly Ravenous Trap on the top of his deck for top. I have got a Grave Troll in here somewhere. I've got 30 cards, and I need just as many chills as we can find, really. So, Golgari Grave Troll. There's 2 of them. I exiled my Stinkweed Imp earlier, so we're just down to a lowly Thug. So we hit 2 chills. That was 10 cards. Think. Oh, Magic Online is on the struggle bus today. Francis falls to 7. Takes 3 in his upkeep from the One Ring. I'm going to put my graveyard away for now because it's annoying me. Yeah, takes a bunch in his upkeep. Paying 4 for Mana Vault. I don't think that's where he wanted to be at this point in the game. Takes 3, so now the Hollow One's lethal. So he needs to answer the Hollow One, answer the One Ring, come up with a way of not dying to my final chill. So, One Ring gets activated after a little bit of a shuffle, getting rid of the final card off the Brainstorm with the shuffle. 8 cards. So One Ring protection will work for a turn, and it will deal with the One Ring. And then I imagine I would go for an upkeep. So then so if they play a One Ring, then I'd pass back and I'd go for an upkeep Dredge 10 or 11, depending on what I've got access to. Tinker for Time Vault. Tinkering. Oh no, Tinkering for Soul Ring. There's Time Vault in hand. Oh, well played. And that deals with everything. We got rid of the One Ring. We got rid of the Hollow One. We made it so that the Creeping Chill doesn't win. What a great game. That was close. Okay, then round 2 of our league, after getting demolished in round 1, we will take a mulligan. And we'll 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 keep this hand. We're on the draw. So I'm going to... Right, so we've got 2 options. I'm going to definitely drop the black cards. And I'm definitely going to drop one of these Force of Wills. We can drop Hollow One, force their first play, flip and pray. Or we can keep Hollow One, misstep their first play, and go from there. I think misstep's better. Because then I get threats, you know? Because I'm not guaranteed to hit treasures, right? So I think I prefer the misstep and have a threat play. So I draw a card, right? So I draw a card on my draw step, and I can discard the 2 that I draw. We lock that in. The only thing that would change that, I think, would probably be like a Noxious Revival. They've got an Underground Sea and Pass. And we've got Misstep for their upkeep Ancestral here, which they do not have. So we'll play a Bazaar and flip it. And I think Noxious would make me change my mind. Miss on Dredges. Cast Hollow on. And this is why Noxious would make me change my mind, right? Is I missed on Dredges. And I'm extremely exposed to a wasteland. Just like massively so. So, oh, they're going to vamp. Sure, we'll snap that off. That is a 1-drop. So yeah, so their turn 2, their vamp didn't resolve. Looks like they could be Doomsday though. At which point we're just... Oh no, it's Oath of Druids. So also very dead. Lots of complaints from the cats today, I do apologise. We'll flip. Miss again, which is probably the death knell for us. Another Bazaar would be kind of dope though. That's an Icarid. Let's attack. The Underground Sea means that they're just going to be on the Atraxa Oath list. But we're going to double check because some people have been registering Pyrogoyf. But yeah, no. And now it's really, really hard for us to win. We might still try. They've revealed... Oh no, I don't even have a Bazaar of Baghdad. Okay. Beseiju, Ancestral, Oko, Sapphire, Show and Tell, Atraxa. Yeah, seems good. Seems good. Congratulations, you win. That was a close and competitive game. We'll take the Force of Vigors, and then we'll work out what to cut. I think a Thug can go. Maybe it's just the Griefs, you know? Maybe I want to keep 1 Grief and drop 1 Mind Break. To keep 2 Griefs. And yeah, I like that. Actually, a couple of Griefs, drop a Thug. Yeah, not lots for us to really do there. Mulligan to 3. A little decision on what we put back, whether we want to present a threat or whether we want to hold up permission. And then, yeah, they had a turn 2 Oath, which we'd mulliganed out of range of being able to contest. So that's fine. We'll powder, we'll keep this hand, which is much more interactive and much more proactive. So that's quite exciting for the home team. Okay, so we're on the play. We're going to turn 1 this hollow one. I think we're good just to, yeah. They mulliganed to 5, which is interesting. And they missed on whatever they were looking for as well. So let's cast a hollow one. We've got Force of Will with Misstep behind, or we've got Misstep with Force of Will behind. Mox, Orchard, Oath, Force, Blue is 5 cards though, so there's definitely things that they can have here which would upset us. Mox. Beseiju my Bazaar of Baghdad. Okay, that's fine. I've got 2 Dredges. I've got other stuff. They've got a Tabernacle at Pendule Vale. Okay, sure. So, what do we want to do? I guess just Dredge a Stinkweed Imp. I'll ignore the Icarid this turn. And then we'll go from next turn with the Icarid once we've got a bit more fuel in our graveyard. Just in case we miss on the Stinkweed Imp, you know, then we'd have a Dredger behind. So Stinkweed Imp. Plenty of Dredgers now. I will bring the Narc in because they've mulliganed low. Oh no, there's no point actually, is there? Because it's just going to die. So, plenty of food for the Icarid. 3 Dredgers in there. Opponent's got 3 cards and that's it. So, back to us. Icarid will eat a Grief. Narc will die. We'll Dredge a Thug. Hit another Icarid. And Then Icrid will go to the graveyard. And this is the game. We just need to pick spots to interact in. So nothing from them. I can eat a Grief and a Shell, and I think I will. Grief. Shell. So I just need to dredge this one, and then maybe take a draw step. I'll dredge this Shell, see what we hit. So we hit nothing. So next turn we'll take a draw step. And then after that we're back to dredging Stinkweed Imps every single turn. Opponent's on 11. And like a draw step's not bad here, because if we hit another blue card, if we hit a green card. So I can't Icarid this turn. I hit a black card, which is pretty useless. Discard Stinkweed Imp. They've got 5 cards in hand. I guess I have to force the Oath. Because if they haven't made a land drop yet. If that happens, say no to Icarids. Dredge a Stinkweed Imp. Say no to Narcomoeba. Now I'm not on discard say, so I've just got a Thug. They've got a DT. Hopefully this is just DT for Ancestral, and we can misstep them. Could be DT for Lotus to ramp something out. Mox Pearl. Boseiju. Looks like a show and tell to me. Tinker. Tinker for Sphinx of the Steel Wind. That's problematic, isn't it? No. 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 Dredge a Thug. I don't know what we're... Okay, well this is a tremendous success so far. Maybe I was a bit too aggressive on the double Icarid turn when I might have eaten a Dredger. Yeah, I ate a Shambling Shell. Maybe that was wrong. Maybe I was wrong to fight the Oath of Druids. But the thing with the Oath of Druids is they haven't made a land drop, so it's good timing by them. So it's good timing by them because I kind of have to fight it in case they play the Orchard afterwards, right? Okay, well, never mind. Let's go to round 3. Okay, round 3. Up against a Lurrus deck. Like Kabloom. I've mulliganed, and then I'm going to do that again. And then I'm going to do that once more. Yeah, just once. Perfect. Put 3 cards to the bottom. So we're up against Lurrus. And we're on 4 cards. We've got to keep the Bazaar of Baghdad. That's the non-negotiable. And I want to keep a Noxious Revival, because the Lurrus decks are going to be 4 to 5 Strip Mine decks. I think I like keeping Hollow One for early pressure, which means we get to keep a Stinkweed Imp. Putting Grief Thug back to the bottom. We'll put Grief slightly higher in our deck, just in case we get that far down and we need to draw the Grief. We know it's 3 from the bottom. I don't know what would make us need to do that. But I think this is good. We're on the draw as well, so we get to look a bit deeper. But we've just got to have we need active Bazaars. It's good to have a threat in case our opponent goes Land Soul Guide. And that's that. So Sapphire, Underground Sea. We'll get Ancestral or Bowman on turn 1. The Bowman's not really too much of a disaster until we get Soul Guided. 2 Hollow Ones, cool. So we'll activate the Bazaar. In a shocking turn of events, our opponent has an Orcish Bowmasters. And we take some damage. But it's just like playing a shock land, right? It's not embarrassing. Cool. And now we discard Stinkweed Imp, Force of Will, Shambling Shell, because we want to play through a Wasteland and we want to cast our 2 Hollow Ones. A good thing here is that unless they go untap Time Twister, then we'll never trigger this Bowman again. And then it's our opponent's turn. Cool. A good start for us this time off of a mulligan to low. So we are low on resources and that could catch us out in a bit. But it's not too bad. Opponent has a Wasteland. No drama. I've got a Noxious. And I've also got a Stinkweed Imp, right? So I've got great dredges to get us going if this Noxious doesn't resolve. We Noxious end step because they can play 3 or 4 negations. So you don't want to take your turn there because you'll turn on the number of outs they've got. But they've just got the misstep rolled up. Fine. We'll go on to slow dredging. And one thing here is there's been a bit of another uptick in blue-black dredge. I'm not too sure why. This was a good hit. We hit Narc and Amalgam, so we'll get 2 more bodies into play, and we've got 1 more shell next turn if we want it, or we can just Icarid them. We could, like, they could have another Bowman, at which point our Hollow One's trading with our army token, but I just don't think we're allowed to care that much at this point. We've barely got an engine going. We don't have a Bazaar of Baghdad. Looks like they've got it, so our Narc will die and our army token will trade. But then we'll have 7 power in play then, which is still going to be fine. And yeah, the only thing we're kind of scared of here is Time Twister. Or Ancestral, actually. Ancestral might just be lethal. I'd take 6 and then get attacked for 9. Yeah, looks good. Looks good. So Flooded Strand. Well, I've got a Shambling Shell, right? So DT. So I might be able to, it's the Ancestral me, I might be able to fizzle it all. Fetches. Lotus Twist would work. That's a Tundra. They get a Soul Guide Lantern. Okay, so that's that then. That's everything they've got. So they've got 1 card in hand. Is Soul Guide good there? I'm not saying Soul Guide's bad, but I'm just saying that I don't know if I'm a believer, you know? I'm just going to take draw steps then. So I can draw Bazaars and I can draw Noxious. And if I draw Noxious, I kind of really punish them for... If I draw a Noxious, I just really punish them for waiting. Creatures attack. They might go Orc Army in front of Amalgam to try and punish that. Yeah, but then I'm getting 3, 4, 8 or killing 2 Bowmen. And they've only got 1 card in hand. Yeah, so they blocked with 1 Bowman. Another Bowmaster would really kind of end this game. So maybe they had the Soul Guide wrapped up and they've gone to get another Bowmaster. It's a Psychic Frog. I still think I'm supposed to be sending my creatures. What happens if I attack with both? They block with 1. They block with an army token. Let's attack. I should have griefed pre-combat, actually, shouldn't I? Because then I get the plow out of their hand. Oh, and it is a plow as well. And then I know not to attack. Okay. Doesn't help that I'm playing badly. It doesn't help anyone. Bowmaster not getting in is kind of insane. And then next turn they've just got Lurrus loops, but I'm holding a grief, right? So it doesn't matter. So let's dredge, see if we get the pop off the Soul Guide here. And then we'll grief them taking their Lurrus of the Dream Den. We've got to take the Lurrus, we can't let them have that. So now the Bowman can, the Bowman can still attack here because they've got the Frog in hand. So Frog comes down, Frog comes in, and Bowman comes in, cool. So now if I'm allowed to resolve my Icarid trigger, I get to run it headfirst into a Frog. So a Wasteland. Sure, Icarid triggers. So this will be bring back Icarid, take a draw step if they let us. They don't let us, okay. So Icarid doesn't happen, we take a draw step because we got no other options. That's an amalgam. Cool, you'll go. Yeah, so that turn I drew Grief, I should just cast Grief. Because then I can just sit here with a hollow one in play and this is all a lot harder for them. But then they'd get the Lurrus back. And we would get bodied by Lurrus Bowmasters and Lurrus Soul Guides. But I don't know. I think it was definitely wrong just because it was so loose, you know? Because it fundamentally changed like all the combats and stuff, and it took my attack that was like potentially loose to maniacal. Right, anyway, so let's get some creature removal in here. Do I want Force of Vigor? I don't think so. I think I just want creature removal. I don't like Mindbreak Trap. I don't really like Force Negation either, actually. So I might grab a cheeky Vigor or two and drop a Thug. Because mostly their hate is going to be Containment Priests and that Soul Guide Lantern and the Wastelands. So yeah. And this is still 13 blue cards, so it's not amazing, but it's not a disaster. Okay, game 2 against Kabloom. I feel like this league's been passing me by though, rather than me doing anything strategically sound. This sounds cool. No dredges, but we have got Misstep Force Double Hollow 1, which I don't think I can complain about. Play a Bazaar. Opponent also kept 7. This is interesting, isn't it? I think... what's better? So there's the thing, right, of I can discard the Chill, Thug, Revival, have Force Blue card Misstep, 2 hollow ones in play, or I can discard the Amalgam, have the Noxious Revival, and initiate against Wasteland, and I've still got Misstep or Force of Will, one of those. I think it's better to keep the Noxious. I think having access to Bazaars is good, and one interaction step is fine. I can still misstep their Soul Guide Lantern. I can Force of Will their Containment Priest. And on top of that, I've also got 8 power in play. The way this gets punished is if they play Tabernacle. Cool. And as I said at the beginning, people don't really play Tabernacle anymore. You just don't see it. It's not there. Classic. Cool, so we put our hollow ones into the graveyard. And then we draw Step a Thug. Because we want to maintain cards in hand here. We hit some other cards. And is there any reason to go now? No, we can go upkeep. And the reason to go upkeep is we're just looking for Icarids and Creeping Chills at this point. But the reason to go upkeep is we're going to try and get through this turn, and now we'll activate again. And then if scary things happen, or if we present scary things to our opponent, and they have a random Ravenous Trap, they can't protect their Ravenous Trap with Force of Negation now. So we get a Narc and a Creeping Chill. We've also got one Ichorid in there. Put a Narcomoeba into play because it doesn't hurt anyone. And then have our creatures on a bit of a loop. We can also, if we need to, Noxious a Sickening Shoal, draw the Sickening Shoal, Dredge a Thug, kill a Containment Priest. But with this play, it looks like we won't have a Noxious Revival, because I'm just going to go get my Bazaar. I don't think I fight this though. Sorry, my graveyard's not even out. I don't think I fight this. If they fight back, I don't think I can fight. I think I need to fight their second hate piece. So Force of Will, exiling Lurrus Revealed. They've got 5 cards in hand. I don't think I'm allowed to fight that. I think I just have to take slow dredges and counter a Soul Guide or a Containment Priest later. So good stacking here is to resolve the Ichorids before the Amalgams and before the Tabernacle triggers happen. This way, say we have another Narcomoeba in play, we're not, again, activating Ravenous Trap for them. So you can also press this button and then really select how all your stack abilities automatically. And if you deselect that, then it won't put all of your Tabernacle triggers on the stack at the same time. And you can choose what order your creatures die in. Which doesn't matter so much here, but it can matter with your Collect Roof decks. So, Narcomoebas die. We'll dredge a Grave Troll, because that's just the most cards. We find nothing else. The advantage to stacking the triggers the opposite way around to what I did, though, is that if you kill your Amalgam first, then it will see your Ichorid come in. So if you're on a Wasteland build, maybe you want to consider putting the Ichorids in the middle of the stack. Like, kill 2 Amalgams, bring back an Ichorid, kill an Narcomoeba. Something like that. So your opponent has a Tundra, which could be a Plow. I have a Grief, which is going to turn into an Ichorid. Then we'll pick up the Stinkweed Imp. I don't know why it keeps... I know I'm ready to respond. Magic Online. So we've got another Ichorid there. If this guy gets plowed, that's fine. And I won't fight a plow either. Right? I doesn't... Yeah, no. Plow's fine. We really just want to be fighting, because we've got to cherry pick where our interaction happens here. And I want it to be over like a Containment Priest or a Soul Guide Lantern, something actually impactful. Our opponent's at 13. That's an Underground Sea. Mox Jet. Ancestrals yourself. That's horrible. Maybe I was supposed to fight the Force on my Noxious earlier, but I don't know, it just felt like they could just untap and play a Priest, and then I was completely cold. Yeah, well. Brainstorm, absolutely. So yeah, the reason I played this list today is, as I said at the beginning, right, is this is the current Munchlax list. They've been on this Max Permission list for a while and playing with numbers. I personally much prefer the ones with a couple more threats in that double mind break trap 4th thug slot. I prefer a few more threats. Threats I don't really mind on. It can be a Silver Smoke Ghoul. It can be bridges. I like bridges and therapies, and I like wastelands post board. But this is just the list that most people are going to play in your showcase at the weekend because it's the front page on Goldfish at the Mo. Because Munchlax won a challenge with it a couple of weeks ago. Amalgams come in, amalgams go away. And we've got an Icarid. I'm going to kill. Yeah, I don't think I care enough to mess around with stacking order. I'm going to do the way I said earlier because that's the way I want it to be. We got white, white, white. I've got a Force of Will for your Containment Priest. They've got 3 cards, maybe even a second Priest. We've got a Force of Will pitching something. Okay, well, we'll let the Icarid chill for a moment then. They've got 1 card in hand at the moment. And there's 2 Sickening Shoals in our graveyard, which means we've got 3 outs in 25. Which isn't too bad. No Contagion down there either. Do you have a second Priest? Nope. So, no. Sickening Shoal. We'll do this now whilst they've got 1 card in hand and they're tapped out of blue, so we can't get Spell Pierced. We'll just kill that now, straight off the top. Thanks for joining. And they can buy Lurrus this turn and then play Lurrus Lotus the following turn. But at that point, I would have dredged a bit more. Maybe found another Icarid, maybe found some chills. They've got 1 card in hand. They could also just be holding another plow. They buy Lurrus. Grief unfortunately doesn't have Dredge. I feel like it should have had Dredge 1 to give the card a bit of power. We'll eat it then instead. Yeah, this ability needs to be on for me, sorry. Cool. So Icarid comes in, Amalgam's trigger. We dredge a Stinkweed Imp, it being the biggest dredge number. We hit an Alchemy Bat and a Creeping Chill. If they hit land drop next turn as well, then they will just have Lurrus Priest. Which would make me sad. Not that sad though. Like it wouldn't affect my day. Cool. Right. In for 3. We've got 1 more Stinkweed Imp in our graveyard at the moment. And that Stinkweed Imp needs to deliver up to... They've also got a plow. Wow. Just had everything. They've never not had it. So 1 card in hand is Lurrus. We'll watch them top deck a land and then we'll concede. How many chills do I have left in my deck? There's 1 in my graveyard and there's 1 in my exile. So it's just actually impossible. So they play Lurrus, we take a draw step. We have to top deck Contagion, exactly. If we're going to try and do... Oh no, they just had the land. Okay, fine. Fine. So this has been really just a resounding success so far today. Okie dokie then. New round, round 4. That last round I'm just wondering whether I was supposed to interact earlier with them. But I don't know. But never mind. It's done now. And we've got this 7, which is double interaction Bizarre Grave Troll. We're up against another Lurrus gamer. We're in game 1. This should be the sort of hand that just can't be beaten. So let's see if we can find a way to be defeated. We'll discard the best 2 dredges in the deck and an Icarid. We'll hold back 2 pieces of interaction. And we'll see how we do. But this is if you're, this is one of the things though with Dredge, right? Is everyone's prepared for you, and sometimes you can just have days like this where they've got all the interaction. You make a couple of decisions which are close, and you select the slightly wrong side of them, and all of a sudden you're 0-6 in games, out of contention, scrapping for your life sort of thing. Like, it's very hard these days to come across a meta game which can't deal with Dredge. So I've been having fun playing with the Vine decks recently. I think all the Bazaar decks are equally as well positioned as each other. I think that's not particularly well. I think Dual Shops is a bit too much of a sort of menace for us. This turn we've activated Upkeep because we had the bonus Shambling Shell in our hand. The other problem, what was I saying? Yeah, I don't particularly love where basically, we're never going to activate the Bazaar in a spot that means we're down this interactive suite. Secondly, I find Dual bad for all the Bazaar decks. Mono White is tough for all the Bazaar decks because they're on 4x Peacekeepers. And the Lurrus matchups are closer than they've been in the past because they've incorporated the Containment Priests. The black deck should be better for you if you're playing Dredge, blue-black Lurrus, but then blue-black Lurrus is going to be worse for your Squee and Aggro Vine stuff. So opponent has a Time Walk. That's cool. And like the other option is you don't build your Dredge list like this. You build it with a few more threats. That increases your outs in a few of these matchups. Increases your win percentage in a few of these matchups because you're just that half a turn, quarter of a turn faster. You can get your threats in underneath the Containment Priest and that sort of thing. So let's see what they come with here. They've got a Psychic Frog. I'll fight the Frog. The Frog's quite scary. We'll pitch the Narc. That's definitely dead. Whereas the Amalgam, there's a random world where we can... Well, not anymore. I'm going to continue fighting the Frog. Opponents just Force of Will, which puts them to 12. Which means we really don't want the Frog in play because we want to Icarid them twice, Dredge 5, chill them twice, So we'll eat a Grief because that changes a whole turn on the Icarid clock. And we'll eat a Shambling Shell. We'll Dredge a Stink. We don't hit 2 chills and win the game. So unlucky. Alright. In for 6, opponent falls 2-6. And that seems good for us. We also get a body back. And again, same as I was saying last round, you want to resolve your Amalgams before your Icarids die to minimize what's... Basically, all of this is just minimizing how many cards you have in your graveyard at once, how many relevant cards, and it can just make any interaction your opponent has slightly less effective, because then you'll find some players will nuke your graveyard, but you'll still have your Icarids in play, your Amalgams will go away. So you've still got that engine going. Or they'll let the Amalgam come back in and then kill 2 Icarids sort of thing, and you've still got 3/3 in play. And it's just finding those little edges of how to stack your abilities it doesn't come up often, but it can sometimes just make or break a single game in a single match, which is sometimes all you need. Opponent's got a Treasure Cruise, which is a tough way to do it. 3 mana Treasure Cruise. 3 mana draw 3 is a decent rate, but not when you're dead on board. So, that's basically that now. Yeah, I don't know why we're still here. Cool, so last time, it didn't go very well. I still want all the kill spells. I'm still not exactly enamored by the idea of Force of Vigor. But this time I'm going to try and drop all of my blue cards and play the Vigors, and I'll keep one trap. And this is interesting because this is how I used to sideboard against Lurrus deck. It's I drop all of my blue cards, I bring in all of my kill spells and all of my Vigors, and then I'd also have a Chalice in my deck, whereas we've got a Mindbreak Trap instead, which I don't think is very good. However, we might be able to get them on the hook for something, but it seems difficult. It's like land Mox Frog, Containment Priest cast Force of Will. All of these things are... Yeah, or Containment Priest, I Sickening Shoal it, Force of Will. That's only 2 spells. Let's see if we get Tabernacled for a 3rd round in a row. Because yeah, if you're getting tabbed at this rate as well, then you definitely want access to Wasteland, right? Or Munchlax and I just play differently, and that's also fine. I will keep the Sickening Shoal in my deck because A, it's an answer, and B, it hides information. If I exile the Sickening Shoal, then... Oh, that's actually a really interesting spot, that, right? This is my exile zone from the 2 powders. If I exile the Sickening Shoal, then they know I've got Sickening Shoals in my deck. They probably know that anyway, but we've just hidden a bit of information and kept our anti-hate high. But exiling the Mindbreak Trap has the absolute opposite effect, in that it makes them think we've got Mindbreak Traps in our deck, and therefore they'll have to consider that as the game goes on. But in reality, that's actually our only trap. So that's very funny to me, how that lined up. This hand continues to do nothing, so we'll take a mulligan. And we'll powder this, and we'll keep the shoal, and we'll keep the misstep. No, maybe we'll keep the shoal, and we'll keep the chill. I think that's better, because that's actually a kill condition. Now we'll go to 4 cards. Now we'll go to 3 cards. And now we'll keep this. 4 cards on the bottom. So those are the 4 that are going to go back. We're going to keep the Contagion. We're on the draw. So then we can draw, we can dredge a little bit, and then we can dredge onto a black card and kill their 2 things. Or kill their 1 thing, depending on what it is. Opponent just has land go. Tundra go. So that could just mean Wasteland. It could just mean they've just got a slow Containment Priest. It could mean we want to grief them right now. What do we think about grief them right now? I think it's good. Off of a Contagion though. Well, I mean, I'm losing the grief or I'm losing the Contagion this turn either way anyway. So let's lead on grief. So we might just get a hate piece out of them. And we're going to eat the Force of Will either way. Oh, we won't eat the Force of Will. So they haven't really got a lot here. They've got Force of Will, Plough, Wasteland. So it's an incredibly beatable hand, especially with your best dredger. Could have sequenced a bit differently here, but I didn't. Because I'm keeping black cards. I'm always keeping black cards grief in that spot. So it's really hard for this flip to matter, because I'd always be discarding the Icarid. Like, the fact that this is a non-graveyard card is great. So their priest is gone. These are their cards. They're going to untap and waste us. And then we'll Icarid them. They've got a Lotus Petal. Does that do anything? Lotus Petal, Wasteland. Oh, they just get it out. They could get it into play. And so we'll dredge a Grave Troll and hope we hit something. And I think we leave the Icarid at home for now. Because I want the Icarid to bring back amalgams. I don't want to just naked Icarid. And we know they've got the Plough, right? So I don't get the Icarid in the future. The Icarid's gone the moment we bring the Icarid back. So that's just a creeping chill, but it is 2 more dredges. And then it's over to the opponent. And that's just a race against them finding Containment Priest and me achieving something. That's a Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale, which is a very, very interesting to just reveal your hand to me. I'm going to say no again then on the Icarid. Oh no, I shouldn't say no again on the Icarid. That was a mistake. That was a massive mistake. Because now we know the Amalgams are dead. The Icarid doesn't matter. So that was a big error on our part, but that's what we've been doing today, is pretty big errors, so that's fine. Why change now? And that's the Underground Sea. So we've got one mystery card in hand now. Let's bring back the Grief. I'll bring back the Icarid eating the Grief. They might just plough it now. I'll dredge a Shambling Shell. Hit another Icarid, hit no more dredgers, and we're really up against it. So, is there an argument that I'm supposed to be just taking draw steps in this kind of spot then? Because we've achieved absolutely nothing. We hit nothing good. I mean, it was a low card quantity turn for us. We've got a Misty Rainforest. 3 cards in hand. Plow's gone. Scalding Tarn and Force of Will are still there. Grief will get consumed by Icarid, and now we just take a draw step. It's a Narcomoeba. We've only got 1 Bazaar left at this point as well. Unless I mulliganed through one earlier. No. So opponent falls to less life points. Icarid's got no food to eat. We've got no cards to play. I think these Vigors are a joke. I think they're going to be Force of Wills next game. I don't think they do anything. That's Containment Priest. Opponent at 11. We're on draw steps anyway, so we may as well keep on going. Let's do this upkeep. This was abysmal as well. Oh no, yeah, they've got a Tabernacle, so they pay. And then we revive the Bazaar of Baghdad. We know they've got Force of Will and something else in hand. Scalding Tarn's now in play. They just have a Spell Pierce, which is cool. Now this turn they can buy Lurrus. They draw a Mox Jet. They hit for 2. They can buy Lurrus, and then they can bring back the other priest. So if they buy Lurrus, we need to top deck Grief. If they don't buy Lurrus, we can top deck a Sickening Shoal. Let's just kill this now. Get it over with before they can do anything else. They've only got 4 mana. And they don't have Lurrus in hand yet. So the Containment Priests are dead. We need to draw Grief next turn and then Bazaar the following turn. So there we go. That's the 2 for the triple runner win. And they just need to draw blanks. So continues to not buy Lurrus, which is funny. Not sure why that would be the play. Let's get rid of our graveyard for a minute whilst nothing's happening. So, and we know their 1 card is Force. Looks like they've remembered Lurrus. Yeah, and now they can fetch, play. They can't quite cast Containment Priest out the yard this turn, so we will have a turn to... We will have a turn to draw a Sickening Shoal, I think. 1, 2, 3... Unless they make a land drop this turn. At which point, everything we've been playing will be under the lock again. They've got a Petal that they can play from the yard to fix for the priest next turn. And that's the Petal. They could just have a 3rd priest in hand. It's a Noxious Revival, but I think that's a bit too slow at this point. So let's go to the next one. And I think I've just decided that I don't like Vigors at all. So we're going to drop Vigor. And we're going to have Force of Will. And on the draw, we're going to drop or on the play. Okay, sure. And just like that then, I think. On the play, Griefs. On the draw, more Permission. No Vigors at all in the matchup. And this is great. So we'll activate first because we might get better discards and stuff for our Grief. Let's have a look. Or a way to protect our Grief. So Stinkweed Imp, Golgari Grave Troll, Noxious Revival, Grief pitching Sickening Shoal, opponent kept 7 again. Which I know is like a joke, oh my Bazaar opponent kept 7, but it's also a thing that your opponent's keeping 7 because it means they've just got hate pieces everywhere. We'll take their Brainstorm and leave them with air. So they're just on 6 lands now. Don't get me wrong, those 6 lands are quite good. But so it's going to be Strip Mine or Tabernacle. Hopefully they lead on Tabernacle, but I can't imagine they will. They're probably just going to strip us. Mox Pearl's fine. In this game I will protect my Noxious. And then a Lotus Petal. And Tabernacle Pendule Veil. Wild stuff. Wild stuff. Maybe they top decked Priest. So upkeep, I want these cards in my hand because I know they're holding Strip Mine. And I know I want Force Blue. So I'm going to Dredge Golgari Grave Troll first. And now I'm going to activate for Stinkweed Imp. And then Golgari Thug. I've got 2 Icarids there. So that's cool. We should be able to fight something from them soon. This is going to be Strip Mine. We'll get 2 Icarids back. That's Black Lotus. Well, I mean, they've got infinite mana already. So they play Strip Mine. We know they're holding C Delta, and something else. So we win this fight over the Bazaar. I'd like my Bazaar back, please. And that just happens. Now the Icarids go on the stack, and we can just eat the Amalgams. Just get them out of the way, stop them from triggering all over the place. We don't have a Wasteland, we can't get rid of them. So we can't get rid of the Icarid. So cool. Icarid eats Amalgam. I don't Dredge, right? Because I topped a Bazaar. Which is actually quite tough. So that means I'm not able to activate. Or actually I can just play it, force your spell and activate. Yeah, because this turns Lurrus, play Lurrus, play Lotus. So we can just force the Lurrus. I'm going to play the Bazaar out. They've got 1 mystery card. Because they've played the card they've drawn every turn. It was a bit strange to lead on Tabernacle over Strip Mine though, wasn't it? Because... Please don't eat my laptop. Okay, so they've got a Wasteland, which is annoying. They roll out the Spellbomb before wasting me. Well done, Ivy. Right. Now they Wasteland me. So that was like a massive miss sequence from our opponent. Because they could have put me to the test there for my cards. And now I've got 4 Icarids, and we'll hit a chill at some point, and they'll be dead on board. Perfect. So yeah, like if they do that the other way around, then we've got problems. In that I'm either letting a Bazaar go to try and play around Priest, or I'm activating into that, and I'm coming off of my Force of Will, and they get my graveyard. Yeah, I think that had to be Wasteland. Activate Wasteland. Conceal the information that you've gone runner again, and then you either get the cards out of my hand or you get my whole yard. Interesting. Anyway, our opponent's at 11, and I'm going to attack them for 12, and they're holding 2 lands. So take it. I haven't won in so long that you know, take them in whatever way we can get them. 1, 2, 3, 4 black cards in the graveyard. 4 black creature cards in the graveyard. At least. There's Grief at the top, and then there's Grief and a Shambling Shell. So, Grief. Their hand is just those 2 lands, alright? They haven't played anything else. In for 12. Cool. That was a game. And it's funny because the others I feel like we've got rolled, and this one I think we were lucky to get away with. Yeah. I think you need to give me the decision before giving me the info in that spot. So, yeah, cool. Good games, and we'll go and see if we can salvage half a buy-in. Okay, final round, we're up against Gate Kappa. Let's see if we can salvage the 2-3. They've revealed a Lurrus, and I'll keep my hand. 2 Noxious is cool. It's enough Noxious to get around 1 Force of Will. And we've got some good dredges and a general game plan of tap my land. So let's go to our first main phase. We are on the play. Things that would make me not discard this imp are Grief. There we go. Here he is. Let's go Serum Powder, Grave Troll. And I think here I want to Grief first. They mulligan to 6. I think I want to Grief first. And they've got not a lot. So let's take the Frog. I think that's the scariest card there. And now we'll cast a Hollow One and pass the turn. I know they've got a Bowman, but Bowmaster doesn't actually do much against us when our decks are rolling, is my general opinion. But let's see how that goes. They've got Pearl Misty, Dig and Lorien. That's the Misty. That's the Pearl. And unfortunately, I do want to upkeep here. Because if I miss, then I want to get my guy back into the graveyard and go again, sort of thing. And they can have a trigger and a counter, it doesn't matter. So, our turn. Sorcery Speed Bowman is funny. It might be right, it might be correct. And so there's a lot of spots where I find Sorcery Speed Bowman to be the hardest thing to play around. Here we're just going to play through it rather than around it. But I'm going now because if I hadn't hit the second Dredger, I'd want the Grave Troll back in my graveyard for my draw step. We are, however, just going to dump 9 power into play, which is cool. Discard a Shell. Bring back a Narcomoeba. Of note as well, Dredging doesn't trigger their Bowmaster, so you can just cruise straight through it like it's not there in a lot of these games. And then Noxious Revival is going to make me click through my whole turn. And we get 2 more Narcs and an Icarid as well. So our opponent should be roughly dead next turn, I think. Barring incident. And that comes back into play. We go to combat. Dinkum for 4. And then almost guaranteed to be activating Bazaar upkeep and then Noxiousing after the first activation, taking a draw step and activating again. And I know I said earlier about Noxiousing only on their turn sort of thing, but this is going to be an exception where we want to get an activation in and not have the top of our deck like cock blocked by Bazaar sort of thing. So that's what we're going to go for. That's if our opponent feels like passing back sort of thing. I don't know. So I can put that there so it's at least visible. So we know they don't have a Bowmaster. We know they don't have a Misty Frog. So Lorien Dig, 2 others. Cool. And I've got a lot of cards in play. Plus an Icarid in my graveyard. So it does look good. I'll tell you that for free. We've got 36 cards and good outs to hit a bunch of chills next turn. Opponent has got Lorien revealed. Okay then. So maybe this is good. Freshly drawn Frog. They've got Tundra. They could be needing access to Plough. They had access to Plough. 3 cards, so they can't really dig this turn. It's a Tundra. And a Demonic Tutor, which could be some graveyard hate. They've made a land drop. That's quite scary, actually. DT. Could be Lotus for Twist. It could be Soul Guide Lantern for next turn, assuming they are expecting to untap. Could be Wasteland, but they've made a land drop. What would Lotus for Twist do here? It would kill 2 Amalgams and a Narcomoeba. So it looks like they've just gone to get the main deck Soul Guide for next turn. That doesn't deal with the board, which means we'll make the play we said we were going to make, and that is activate upkeep, Dredge Shell, Dredge Imp, hit a Creeping Chill, and I'm not playing for a graveyard post Soul Guide or Twist. I'm playing for as much board presence prior to that moment. Let's eat a Shamble. Oh no, there's a Grief at the top here. And then we'll put a Bazaar on top of our deck. They've got Dig Through Time, a DT target, and something else, which is a Force of Will pitching Dig. So they've got the 1 card left, which is either Time Twister or Soul Guide Lantern. We'll dredge a Grave Troll once more. We'll chill them again. And then we'll just attack them a bunch. And we win. Yeah, for Xaxes actually. Which is funny. So, with what did we have the most success? I said on the draw, I want the forces, right? So I can bring in the kill spells. I said Force of Vigor's Fake, so we can just drop one of these thugs rather than a trap. Max Permission and see how it goes. Negations and Missteps fight Spell Bombs and Soul Guides. Force of Wills and Contagions fight Containment Priests and Jailers. Noxious fights Wasteland. Tabernacle ends us. So that's a rough plan. And then we don't have to bring in the Vigors. In game 2, you can always use as information gathering. Because typically, where Dredge is so different to everyone else, you're going to be on the play game. You're going to win game 1, regardless, almost. I know that I've proved that to be different this league. But game 2, you're usually on the draw. And then game 3, you're on the play with full information of their hate suite. So this can be a mulligan. And this is one of the things to pay attention to as well. Game 2, they have revealed a Lurrus. You want to check, because some people won't, and they'll have ley lines post-board. So let's mulligan that. And mulligan this. Ding, ding, ding. So we'll keep. And we'll get rid of powder. Sickening shoal. Ichrid, I guess. Yeah. Okay, tough beats. I want access to Bazaar, I want access to a second Bazaar. I like the kill condition, and I like the anti-graveyard card. Opponent kept 7 with Underground Sea Ponder. My deck's in the wrong order as well. I should have that Ichrid slightly higher if that's what I'm bottoming, but... Cool, our turn. Let's see what we draw, and then see if we can hold this Sickening Shoal. Probably not by the looks of things. Bazaar. Cool. Discard black cards and blue cards. Cast 2 hollow ones. Tell me about your Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale. There's a little pause there, so they might have thought about Force of Will on the hollow one. They do, yeah. So that means they're not holding Tabernacle and they're not holding Plough. So, and they pitched a Frog, which is great news for us. We didn't hit a Dredger, which is bad news for us. They've got a Wasteland. We'll pick up the Bazaar. And then we'll pick up the Bazaar in their end step to play around the negations again. Although the negations probably won't be in their deck at this point, but, you know. I just get it back. Ichrid's got no food. 4 cards for the opponent, 0 for me. Play a Bazaar. I can't do anything with this, so I'm just going to activate Upkeep, I think. I'm not sure what activating Upkeep or any other time does for us here. Literally no difference, right? It's just a card dumping exercise. So let's go now. Because if they've got something random, it will use their mana on their turn. Another Bazaar, brutal. Another Bazaar, no Dredger. So if they go land pass... We've got Frog. Okay. They don't go land pass, they go land Frog. So then we can just go Upkeep, flip. Contagion, Force of Will. Getting massively punished for having that Mindbreak Trap and not a Thug. Oh, there's one. Exchange everything for a Frog. I'm into it. Or for everything for a hollow one, all of their cards. Oh yeah. You discard 3. Lavinia, gone. Orcish Bowmasters, gone. One more. Urza Saga, perfect. Look at that. I'm so into that. They've got no cards in hand. And I've got a Bazaar and I've found my Dredger. And they're only hitting us for 4. I think we have plays here. 2 of those cards are bangers against us. Saga's really hard for us to beat. Containment Priest is fucked up. That's a horrendous draw. They're at 15. Oh, what a lot of pain. Bazaar. How annoying, you know? How annoying. So let's hold the Thug in our hand. We got rid of all of their cards. And then they just play the Containment Priest. Maybe my play's awful, but I don't know, it looked dope. Cool, I got a Saga and a Lavinia out of them. So I'll take a draw step looking for the shoal. Alright. Alright. I'm at 8. You've got a 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6. Okay, cool. This just has to be shoal right now, otherwise we die. And it's 7, so it can't be Contagion that we draw, but Contagion's in the yard, so that was true anyway. I could dredge for a chill, but I don't think that's doing anything. I think I need chill right now. Sure. We can't do anything. We can't win this. Let's just concede. Bowmasters doesn't actually have text there. Well, that was annoying. On the play, I want my Griefs back. I want my Thug back. Let's be all resultsy about it. Maybe the play was awful. Maybe the attack was awful. I don't know, just getting 3 cards off them, leaving them just a frog. Like, we only need to fade 1 turn right and we're gaming. I've got a Bazaar and a Dredger. I liked the concept. So, game 3, we're on the play. Double Powder. Make that deck smaller. And then take some mulligans. And it sounds great. So we'll keep this. We'll bottom 1 shoal and 1 shell. They've got 7 cards. We'll activate. Maybe the Grief was supposed to go. Let's just discard these cards for now. And then just cast a hollow one. And pass to you. And then try and slow roll slightly, I guess. Opponent has a Wasteland. I think that's fine, because my plan was to slow dredge the Thug to Grief with. So say no to Icarid, because I want both of these dredgers to fuel my 2 cards, right? Found another Thug, which is cool. In for 4. Opponent falls to 16. Grief for you. Exiling my Thug. And they have got Plow, Fluster, Cruise, Frog, Bowmaster, Dig. So we'll take the Plow and apply the pressure, because the rest of their hand is uncastable at the moment. Well, this Fluster's castable, but... Then they take 8 and we've got 2 Dredge 4s. Top deck and Undercity Sewers, so that's going to unlock their Frog next turn. Mill's a misstep. Mill's a misstep with their Undercity. We dredge a Thug. We chill them. We attack for 8. Opponent falls to less life points. Next turn we can eat Thug. Bring back Amalgam. Dredge Sinkweed Imp. Sickening Shoal your Frog. After blocks, I guess. Well, they could just go Bowman to eat the Narc. That might be more realistic. So that's the Tundra. 6 cards over there, the ones we know about, and they're going for a Bowman line. So that's fine. I'm going to go for... I am going to go for my Icarid this turn. Or do I not? No, I think I still do, because I get my Amalgam back from it. Draw step, dredge the stinkweed, hit 2 chills, all of it's irrelevant. Hit 1 Narcomoeba. Okay, but we just hit a Grave Troll, which will continue to... Grave Troll and a Thug, which will continue to feed the Icarid. In for damages, which might just be 1 damage, but you know. So Bowmaster comes in. Goes after Icarid. If I kill my Icarid, that ability doesn't resolve. Then they take 1. They have to block the hollow one. The Amalgam comes back. The Icarid comes back. You don't have a Bowman. You've only got a Frog. And that's 1 billion damage. I'm going to do this. I'm going to kill the Icarid in response to the Bowmaster trigger so you don't get your token. So that happens. Bowman's ability fizzles. This is a mandatory block on the hollow one. Did that do anything, or was it just better to... I don't know, they've got no cards in play. And I can easily go around a Frog here. This means they've not untapped with a Bowman in play, right? So if they untapped with a Bowman in play, they would still be dead on board? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know them. Maybe I just had it anyway and I just got a bit too fancy. And used my cards earlier than I needed to. Well, if we get punished, we get punished. But what would be the big punish here after that? It would just be Tabernacle plus Priest, right? That's what would end the game. But then I'd still have access to chills. How many chills did we exile? We got 19 cards in exile. 1, 2. I've still got 2 available, so... Yeah, who knows? Good gauntlet though, right? 1 Brew, 1 Oath of Druids, 3 Lurrus. And looks like I'm going to go 2 and 1 against Lurrus. Lose to Oath, which is normal. Lose to a Brew, sure. That's a Wasteland. They Wasteland the Tundra so they can cast the Cruise. Or the Dig. They've made their land drop. So off this Dig Through Time, they'd need like Lotus, Walk, and Tabernacle. Lotus Ancestral into Walk into Tabernacle. Yeah, they're definitely at the point in the game where things... How do I get back here? And it's like Lotus Ancestral, right? They're definitely at that point. I think when you're wastelanding your Tundra, then yeah. Cool, and we do get there. That was a bit questionable towards the end. I don't think I've played well at all today. We do salvage the 2-1 after the Nightmare start. And I think I like that play of fizzling the ability so they don't get the token. We're using our card a bit early, but we're denying them a piece of cardboard in play. We're denying a rectangle, and they're at a point where they just can't... They haven't... You know, they've got 4 cards in hand, and they haven't been able to deploy all of their rectangles. So I think it's fine. But we did find the Priest plus Tab, which would be the ultimate punish. But yeah, so that's Dredge, and this is the Dredge list that we have played today. This is the prominent one at the moment. Honestly, I'm personally not a fan of it. I prefer a Chalice, and then another threat, and maybe even another 2 threats down here. I think I do prefer the more threat dense ones than the maximum permission ones. Like, I really don't like Mind Break Trap at all. It's fine in the board, don't get me wrong, but I'm really not a fan of that. I think I'd rather just have permanents in play. Yeah, I think that's everything I've got to say about that. I'd rather my crypts were wastelands. Maybe this is good though. The fifth interactive thing with creatures because of how many creatures Lurrus is playing. And yeah, not bringing in the Vigors against the Lurrus, I think, solved a decent number of problems. Things like Spellbomb and Soul Guide we can play around, and you can come up with a plan through them sometimes. Sometimes you can't, right? Sometimes you've got no cards in hand and 2 Icarids, and that is your plan. But if they come down early, you can slow roll dredgers, do your activations at weird times, like on their turn. Just put your Icarid trigger on the stack and pass priority puts a question on them. Because then if they pop the spell bomb, you can activate Bazaar and get your graveyard going again. But yeah, no. If you play the challenge this weekend, then good luck to all the Bazaar gamers, not the challenge, the showcase thing. I unfortunately can't do it. I think I'm in a car at that point in time when it kicks off. So, yeah, if you play it, good luck and have fun. Thanks for watching. See you next week.